Okay, so today we are going to do about the digestion and absorption part 2, where we will discuss about the esophagus structure and function. So what is an esophagus? What an esophagus is a muscular tube that connects the muscular pharynx with the stomach. It is 8 inches long. It is covered with pink moist tissue, that is mucosa. So if we see the esophagus, it can be noted as a long muscular tube that connects with the muscular pharynx with the stomach. So if you see, this is the pharynx, it goes over here. So this is like a long muscular tube, that is attached. It is an 8 inches long, and then it moves into the stomach like this, and it also moves into the stomach like this. So this becomes the 8 inches long esophagus. So this is the 8 inches long esophagus. It is covered with pink color. So these are all the mucosa. Here is the mucosa. Here is also the mucosa in the lining. So that is the mucosa. The esophagus runs in between the trachea. So if we have the trachea over here, this is the trachea, and this is the spinal cord. This is the spinal cord, and this is the trachea. So if we have, this is the trachea, and this is the spinal cord. So the esophagus, so this is the trachea, and this is the spinal cord. So the esophagus is posterior to the trachea, as can be seen, and it is anterior to the spinal cord. The layers of the esophagus from outside to inside are serosa, muscularis externa, submucosa, and mucosa. So if we see, that is, if we see over here the layers of esophagus. Now suppose we are going to draw, this is one layer, this is another layer, this is again another layer, and this is another layer. So we can write over here, this is the serosa from outside to inside. Outside to inside. We can write serosa, muscularis, externa, then submucosa, and mucosa. So this is the serosa, this is the muscularis, this is the, we can see, this is the submucosa, and this is the mucosa layer. So we can erase all, and okay, so this goes. The layers of the esophagus from outside to inside are serosa, muscularis externa, submucosa, and mucosa. The submucosal layer has outer longitudinal muscle and inner circular muscle. On the other hand, the mucosa contains outside to inside surface of the epithelium. That is, outside to inside surface epithelium, lamina propria, muscularis interna, or muscularis mucosa. So that is the thing. Next slide, we go on to the histology of the esophagus, that we have told that it deals with lamina propria, muscularis mucosa. We can see over here. So we can see over here, this is the muscularis mucosa, this is the lamina propria, and this is the muscularis externa, and this is the adventitia, and this is the myenteric plexus. There are two plexuses. Two plexuses are present in the esophagus, namely the myenteric plexus and the Mesonor's plexus. So the myenteric plexus and the Mesonor's plexus, two esophagus, two parts are there. So if we see over here, so we can see that this is wait 1 minute. If we okay, so we can see over here, this is the thoracic aorta, this is the esophagus, this is the trachea. So esophagus is behind the trachea. So if we write over here, the esophagus is behind the trachea. So the esophagus is esophagus is behind the trachea. So the esophagus is behind the trachea. So that's the thing. It is all okay. Next we move on to the epithelium. Now the esophagus mainly consists of stratified, rather non-keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium. So we will deal with the epithelium. The epithelium is of two types, the simple and compound. The simple epithelium is of three types: squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, and columnar epithelium. The epithelium, squamous epithelium, is mainly found in the blood vessel, in the alveoli, muscles of the abdominal cavity, smooth muscle. The compound epithelium is of two types, stratified and non-stratified. The stratified squamous epithelium is of two types, keratinized and non-keratinized. The keratinized epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, is the skin, and non-keratinized are the buccal cavity, lining of esophagus, smooth muscles. So this is how the stratified squamous epithelium looks like, non-keratinized. Keratin is absent over here, so it's non-keratinized. Function of esophagus: the esophagus helps in smooth muscle contraction and relaxation, called the peristalsis, which is involuntary in nature. This peristalsis helps in conduction of the bolus from buccal cavity to the stomach, and the esophagus enters the stomach through the gastroesophageal sphincter. It's a very important thing, gastroesophageal sphincter. So if we see over here, this is the esophagus, this is the esophagus, this is the esophagus, and this is the stomach. So this is the stomach. Over here there is a sphincter, and this sphincter is known as the gastroesophageal sphincter. So this is the esophagus, this is the esophagus, and this is the stomach. Again, this is the esophagus, and this is the stomach. And over here, wait. So this is the esophagus and stomach. Again, esophagus and stomach. So This is the esophagus and stomach. Again, this is the esophagus and it deals with the stomach. Now, if we see over here, there is a region. This is sphincter, and this sphincter is known as, very important, gastroesophageal sphincter. Gastroesophageal sphincter, very important, gastroesophageal sphincter. And ultimately, we are once again thank you one and all to have all of you over here. Thank you. This is the end of the second part of digestion and absorption, where we deal with esophagus structure and function.